It's Monday, August 7th, 2023, and this is episode 289 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Hey, Mike. How are things going?
Going pretty good, Mark. Yesterday, I bought my first bag of candy corn for the season.
Oh, for the season. Good.
Yes.
Things are really looking up for you, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I was very excited, Mark, that they had that out in August. So.
Candy corn, it's one of those things that you love it or hate it. And
right.
Yeah, you and I both like it, so
yeah,
we'll fall in that
I like
camp.
it.
Yeah.
I'm the only one in this house that'll eat it, which is great.
Yeah.
Because when I buy a bag, it's all mine.
I can understand why people, because it's kind of dry and there's, it's not particularly sweet. I don't know. Yeah.
It's mated with honey. So, if you don't like honey too, that's another thing. Lynn always says, I don't like honey.
All right, well, let's jump into the show. So, quite a while ago, I'd say more than a year ago, we got an email from Drew who was asking if we could talk about Casinò chips and their denominations and their colors and their nicknames. And
right on time.
Yeah, when I got the email, I thought, this would be a good topic for our August 7th, 2023 episode. So, yeah, I've just been sitting on it for a while. But let's talk about Casinò chips, sometimes called Casinò checks. I think most players call them chips, but sometimes you'll hear some of the personnel refer to them as checks. So,
checks, yeah.
Like that. Let's start from the $1. Actually, there are certainly in the olden days, and I'm sure there are some casinos now, 25-cent chips and 50-cent chips. You don't see those as much, and certainly their colors are not going to be standard across different casinos. But you sometimes will see those maybe for blackjack payouts. They use a 50-cent chip as opposed to a 50-cent piece or something like that. But other than those, the lowest denomination, of course, is going to be $1. And typically they are white or light blue. They don't really have a nickname. Sometimes people call them singles, or just dollars. But no real nicknames there.
TC chips, I've heard that before.
TC chips, what's that?
Trash can.
Trash can chips. Okay. Yeah, I guess Caesar's Palace. Maybe they call them trash can chips.
Trash can chips. Those are the ones you toss out,
into the trash can because they're only worth $1. And you're so well off, Dr. Mike, that they're more of an annoyance than actually worth anything.
Oh, I wished.
Some casinos have $2 chips. Those are mostly for poker rooms. When it just makes more sense, maybe it's a 2-4 game, something like that. And again, the color is not typically standard. Some casinos have $2 50-cent chips. And again, this is mostly for blackjack, paying off so they don't have to deal with singles or 50-cent pieces. And then we jump up to the more standard chip, the $5 chip. Those are almost always red. They are called nickels. And this also goes on to the $25 and the $100 chips. We'll talk about those individually, but a lot of times you'll call $25 chips quarters. And in some cases, we've heard red birds for $5 chips, green birds for the $25 chips because they are green, and blackbirds for the $100 chips because they are black. But moving on up through our denominations here, that's it for $5. I don't know of any other real nicknames for $5 chips. Do you, Dr. Mike?
No, not really.
Yeah. Some casinos have $10 chips. Again, this is usually for poker rooms more than anything else. You won't see it on the tables as much. Some casinos have $20 chips. You will find those often on games like Pai Gow Poker, where there's a 5% commission. Typically, you don't see $20 tables at casinos. It jumps kind of from $15 minimums to $25 minimums. The exceptions might be Pai Gow Poker, because again, you pay a 5% commission. 5% on $20 is $1. If you have a $25 minimum table, well, the 5% then is $1.25, and maybe they don't want to mess with quarters. And to accommodate those games, some casinos might have $20 chips. But again, not standard, and you may see a lot of different colors. So we briefly talked about $25 chips. Those are green. Again, hey, put a quarter on the 5. They know what you mean. $100 chips are almost universally black chips. And although you may not call those a dollar, like 5s or nickels, 25s or quarters, you don't really call $100 chips a dollar because there are dollar chips on the table. But sometimes in combination with other chips, you might say, give me $1.25 on the 5. That means $125. You'll hear talk like that.
You'll hear a buck and a Q.
A buck and a Q. There you go.
Yeah.
Then jumping up to $500 chips. And again, now the colors become maybe not so standard, but often the $500 chips are purple. And I most frequently hear them just called purples. They can also be called Barneys because of the big purple dinosaur. And again, other colors. Mike, have you seen any other colors for 500 or any other nicknames?
No, not that I can think of offhand.
Yeah.
We should note that all of these, when we say hundreds are black, that's the predominant color in it. They sometimes have other colors either on the side, some kind of design or something.
Something like that. If you were to see a stack of them, they should look
and they
black.
Look back. Right.
But you're right. They do have other colors in there mixed in. I know that we've been to some casinos where, for whatever reason, the way that they have colored their chips, it's hard to tell the difference between, say, 100 and a 25. And you'd think, well, how could they be that similar? One's black and one's green. But yeah, sometimes it is the case. And I remember we were playing at Plaza, and their $100 chips are black, but their layout is predominantly black. And if you put $100 odds down, sometimes you don't even see the chip there.
Right. Well, and Harrah's Rincon, right? They had a problem with the green and the red kind of looking similar on the edges.
Yeah, right, on the edges, yeah.
So when it's in a stack, it's hard to tell if you've got a dirty stack or something, if you've got a 25 in with a 5.
Right, and even in your rack, you may not even notice you've got a 25 in there. So. All right, moving up now to $1,000 chips. Often they are yellow, and you will hear them called bananas or canaries, or sometimes bees or bumblebees because of the yellow. Sometimes $1,000 chips are orange, and in that case, they're often called pumpkins. It's kind of a pumpkin orange color. It's not a bright orange. It's more of kind of that duller orange, so it looks like a pumpkin. And then $5,000 chips often are brown, and we call them chocolates. On cashing out, throw a chocolate in there. It's always nice to cash out with a $5,000 chip. And then, there are some higher denominations that, again, are not quite as standard. And everything that we've talked about is going to depend on the casino, of course. Some casinos have their own nicknames. And I will say this, a lot of the lingo from other betting does not necessarily translate to table game betting and chips. For example, when you say, put a dime on Dallas, that means bet $1,000 on the Dallas Cowboys. Or any other Dallas team. But if you say, bet a dime on a hard 10, you don't really hear that. Instead you'll hear the denominations of the chips.
And if you're ever confused with something, the best thing to do is just say the amount. I want $200 on this or whatever, instead of saying like add a black or something. You can always just use the dollar amount. Yeah. That's probably the safest way.
Definitely. Sometimes people will start to use lingo and either they use it wrong or maybe they're in a casino they've never been to before and the casino's not familiar with the lingo that you're using. I know, Mike, at Harrah's Southern California, you say, give me $15 turning red. Well, that means hop the 7. The turning means hop. And the red means 7. You want $5 on each of the combinations for the hop bet. But there are times where you will say that at another casino. I've said, $15 turning red. And they're like, what? So, it's going to depend on the casino.
Diamond Joe Boyd, they're skinnies. Everyone says skinnies.
Skinnies for the 7?
For the 7s, for hopping the 7s.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you want $15 on the Hoppin' Sevens. It's, Hop the Skinnies for 15.
Yeah, again, it's kind of fun, but it's going to depend on where you are. So hopefully that kind of sheds some light on some lingo, and I'm sure we've left off a lot of nicknames that other people have heard for it. But that's Casinò chips for you in their colors. So on the last episode, I was going on about some of the gaming conditions in Washington State, and I misspoke about certain things, specifically slots. So I had said that there's no Class 3 slot machines in Washington State, and that's not completely true. Let's back up a little bit. There is Class 2 gaming and there's Class 3 gaming. Class 3 gaming is what you see in Las Vegas. When it comes to machines, the slot machines are random. Every pull is random. The video poker machines, the deals are random. That's Class 3. Class 2 machines, which you will sometimes see in jurisdictions where Class 3 gaming is not allowed, is more of a lottery. So if you're playing a Class 2 slot machine, when you pull that handle, the results are predetermined from a pool of, think of it like lottery scratchers. There are certain winners in there. Maybe there are, 1,000 tickets and there are 100 winners. The slot machine.
So there's a built-in cut for the casino.
So that's called Class 2 gaming. And even the video poker is Class 2 in those cases, where it's predetermined whether you win or not. And you're thinking, well, how does that work? It's a little strange. Let's say you're dealt a royal flush. You're dealt a royal flush. If you discard every card, which you're not going to do, but let's say you did, it will deal you another royal flush, because it has determined what you're going to win on this. What you choose to hold or not doesn't matter on these Class 2 video poker machines. Okay, going back to Washington, there are casinos that have complete Class 3 gaming, table games, slot machines. There are some casinos that only have Class 2 gaming, like card rooms, things like that. The Class 3 is, say, tribal casinos. Class 2 might be at card rooms, things like that, where it's mostly poker for the table games, or the table games have to be player banked, and all the machines are Class 2. But here's the rub. If you find any video poker in Washington, it's Class 2. Even at an otherwise Class 3 casino, the video poker is Class 2, meaning it's not real video poker like you'd find in Vegas, meaning that the decisions that you make on holding or getting rid of cards doesn't matter. It's all lottery-based. So, sorry for the confusion that I caused on the last episode, but there it is.
And why do you think that is, Mark?
It's legislators, right? They get it in their head that, something's either good for the public or not good for the public, or, oh my gosh, video poker, that's different from a slot machine that's completely random. We don't want people to be able to make a choice and alter the outcome, right?
Or discriminate against anybody who doesn't know basic strategy, maybe, or something, right?
So I can't get into their minds, but I'm guessing that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy how stuff like that works. It actually drives me crazy.
Okay, well, take a breath. Just keep in mind, if you're going to a Washington casino, the video poker's not real. You may be in a Class 3 or a Class 2 casino, but there you go.
It should be obviously stated on their marquee.
We are Class 2, we are Class 3.
Yeah.
I do believe, at least on the video poker machines, that there is some kind of sticker that says, the outcome is predetermined or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that is the case. So, hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. YouCanBetOnThat.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to our voicemails. First up is Tristan.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Tristan from Orange County. I'm calling to redeem myself from the last call I made where I went on a Vegas trip and gave you absolutely no information about what was going on. This trip was much better. First time in, I would say, 2 years that the variance flipped around, and I had a fantastic trip. Took money out of the safe the first night, and we were supposed to stay for 4 days. We ended up adding an extra day onto our trip, and I didn't take money out of the safe until the 5th day of the trip, which was fantastic. But what I wanted to call and tell you about is you can play craps at the bar at Binion's. There are 4 machines at the end of the bar that are interblock machines, so they have like the stadium gaming interface on them, and craps is one of the games. So you can sit there and drink and play craps and sit at the bar. It's pretty cool. My mom actually put $2 on the lucky shooter bet, which is make your point, make all of the other possible points, and then make your point again without getting a number in between. So like if you roll a 2, 3, or 12, you're out. If you roll a 6 and roll a 6 again, you're out. It's done. And she hit it for $2,004. So my mom got her first hand pay playing craps. Other than that, it was a fantastic trip. We were double booked at the Plaza and the El Cortez. Pretty cool. Ate at some amazing off-strip restaurants. There is a new pizza place called Yukon Pizza that has 125-year-old sourdough starter for their crust, and that pizza was fantastic. If you want to go off of Charleston over in the Hunt Ridge Shopping Center, you should go there and get that pizza because it's amazing. All right, that's all. Have a good day, guys.
All right, Tristan, thanks for the recommendation. So that lucky shooter bet that he's talking about is a side bet. I think you only find it on machines, and it's kind of a weird one. You will win.
Well, it'd be hard to keep track of on a real table.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? The machine can do it easily. You will win if you establish a point, roll all the other point numbers just once and nothing else. So in other words, no crap numbers in there, and then make your point. So let's say your point, you establish a 6. Then in any order, you have to roll the 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, each one only once, and then roll the 6 again. So it is pretty hard to hit.
Yeah, gosh, and I don't know if I really like that. Just for the reason that, let's say you rolled the 9 and, you pressed it. You want it to hit again, right?
That's right.
Well, it's kind of like you're rooting against yourself, right?
Well, pressing the 9 in your example would be a hedge. Oh, I'm going to make a hedge against the lucky shooter. I'm going to press that 9. So.
Then you always have to press whatever number. 9's rolled, press. That's my hedge. 8's rolled, press. That's my hedge.
Well, at least if you do win, it's not like all those presses lose. Right. It's not like a 7 out. So you still have that money up there. So as long as
I wonder how that works. Do you have to, can you restart that immediately? Or is it?
Yeah, you can restart it immediately because whenever a point is made, that bet is resolved. The win or loss, right? So you can make it again right away.
Okay.
Mike, have you ever put money in the safe that you never had to take out during the rest of the trip until you just went home?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I didn't think you had. I have a couple of times. It's a great feeling. You've got all that money still in the safe, and you just continue to play with that initial bank.
I've had money left in the safe at the end that I didn't touch, but I've never not touched any of it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you didn't go through your entire bankroll, but you never had a trip where you were able to play on that initial. Yeah. Okay.
You took out 1,000 out of your 5,000, and you never ever had to go back for the other 4. Yeah. Never had that.
Never. All right. That's in your future, Dr. Mike. That's going to happen before the Royal. So.
Yeah, I think that's almost a certainty, Mark. You can bet on that.
All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jessica from Missouri, and sitting next to me is my daughter, Ember. Hello. We are headed to a home-based casino in Boonville, Missouri. So I think it's not the only casino between St. Louis and Kansas City, but we're headed out there for a night of blackjack. It's her first time. So fingers crossed that she's got beginner's luck, and we will give you a trip report when we're done. Great show, guys. Enjoy it so much. Thanks.
All right. We're going to hear from Jessica and Amber later in the show, see how they did.
Yeah, I wonder if she's 21 or 2 or something, maybe.
Probably, something like that.
Gonna see how that goes. So this will be the litmus test for, do beginners have good luck?
All right, we're going to find out.
I don't know if you can use that with blackjack since it's a stupid game.
Yeah, I don't either, Dr. Mike. Let's hear from our good friend Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, Marty from Reno. God, it's been a while, guys. Hey, a couple things. First of all, the question on the Cromwell 100 times odds. Last time I was in there, they did offer me 100 times odds if I wanted them. I didn't ask them. Again, I used to play there a lot. They probably, when they kind of swiped my card, looked up in the computer, said, hey, this is the guy who used to play here a lot, 100 times odds. And so again, it's on. I would just ask for it if you're interested in that. The other thing, last time I called, I talked about a new hotel casino here in Reno called Legends Bay. Well, it ended up being kind of a bust. I mean, it's a beautiful property, great steakhouse, great live music, no games at all. I mean, the craps game, I tried it Friday night, Saturday night, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight, never a game going on. And now they've replaced most of the casino management there. I think they're struggling a little bit. A lot of the guys who went there from the other downtown casinos are now back at the downtown casinos. Pretty tough one there. So anyway, too bad for them because it's a nice property. There's another property that opened up here in the last couple of months. The Sands downtown on West 4th Street used to be kind of like the worst casino in all of Reno. A company called Jacobs Entertainment bought it up, built a second tower, gutted the first tower, redid it, and rebranded as the J Resort with the Neon Line, which is an outdoor concert venue and event space. So really beautiful place. In fact, it's probably too nice for Reno. It looks a lot like the Cosmopolitan inside. Lots of games going on there. Again, they've got their first pit open. It's about a dozen games, craps, roulette, carnival games, face-up play golf. Anyway, pretty sweet place. Again, we're liking it more and more. Great Italian steakhouse there, which I've never been to an Italian steakhouse before, but it's really great. So pretty sweet. And again, good craps game, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of a smaller table. One of those tables is probably no more than about 6 on an end. So a nice environment there. So anyway, love the show, guys. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Marty. J Resort.
Thanks, Marty.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess we will be seeing Marty in Lake Tahoe, I assume.
Maybe. That's a good point. We should talk about this now that you bring it up, because I don't think we've mentioned it on our show yet. Dr. Mike and I are going to be going to Zorkfest in October. This year it is in Lake Tahoe, and very much looking forward to that. Love the Lake Tahoe area and love the casinos up there. That is going to be October 13th through the 15th. I'll put a link in the show notes to Zorkfest too, so people can check it out. And if you haven't bought tickets, go. But, it's just a big event put on by Michael Traeger and crew for travelers, points and miles, casino gaming, that kind of thing. A lot of different panels and events. So definitely check it out. But yeah, Dr. Mike and I, we're going to be there.
Yeah, even if you're, not into the points and miles and you don't travel a lot, still kind of fun to go because a lot of people will be there. And,
a lot of people we haven't seen in a while and good friends and maybe meet for the first time.
Right. And, they'll be playing and stuff. Plus, Lake Tahoe. It's a pretty nice place to visit.
Yeah, it's very nice up there. Well, it's too bad about Legends Bay Casino. Hopefully things will turn around for them. And then thanks, Marty, on the 100 times odds at Cromwell. It sounds like if you're maybe diamond and above or you're throwing around some money, just ask if they'll let you take 100 times odds, and maybe they just make a phone call and say, yeah, go ahead. So it's not completely gone from the Cromwell. That's good news. All right, next call.
Hey, guys, it's Scott in Florida. I had a couple quick stories for you. I was on a cruise ship, and the craps tables were cold the entire trip. I was a little frustrated after losing about $200 in a session, so I went over to the $15 blackjack table and plopped down $100. I was dealt an 18, and the lady next to me had a soft 15, and the dealer had a 7 showing. The lady with the soft 15 said she was standing, and I bit my tongue, determined not to be that guy who yelled at people for doing the wrong thing. The dealer didn't say anything either. So she stood, and the dealer turns over a 2, giving him a 9. He then drew a 5, and I bit my tongue again. Then the dealer busted, so we both won, and I said to her, see, you did the right thing. And she was so tickled with herself, she gave me a high five. I just smiled and nodded. The second story was at a baccarat table on land here in Florida. The table was $100 minimum, $10,000 maximum, and a guy at the table was using martingale and had lost several hands in a row. He bet $20,000 on banker. The dealer nor the floor person noticed the bet size, and then when banker won, the floor person announced to the guy, we're not paying that bet. The guy literally flipped out on the dealer and the floor person, and the dealer, who looked like she was in her 20s, looked scared to death. We spent about 25 minutes just sitting there with a huge argument. The guy's argument was that he had done the same thing several minutes earlier and that they had paid him. He kept insisting that they look at the cameras to verify. There were about 6 suits all gathered around for what seemed like an eternity, but they finally paid the bet. So his persistence definitely paid off. I just wondered what you thought about that whole situation. Anyways, thanks for the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's too bad that it, resulted in a kerfuffle, but they finally made the correct decision. Gosh, otherwise it's like a free roll for the casino, right? Because if the bet had lost, I'm sure they would have taken the $20,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, sir, the limit's only $5,000. Let me give you this $15,000 back.
Well, see, okay, now there is some precedent for that. At Diamond Joe Worth, for example.
Right.
If you put
they check your odds.
Yeah, they check your odds. If you put too much behind for odds, they check that, win or lose. They're very consistent about it. So if it wins, the amount that you bet that was too much on the odds, they don't pay it. They just give it back to you. Same thing if you lose. They count it. If you bet too much, they give it back to you. So that's fine. They're consistent, and you can see it. I doubt that there was any precedent in this case, for when, you lost, but you bet more than the minimum, so here's your money back. I doubt that happened at all. So they definitely ultimately made the right decision. But the dealer and the pit don't notice a $20,000 bet.
Yeah, that's the part that bugs me. I was thinking, that seems like that would be something that you would be like, okay, $20,000 bet.
Yeah, they're so blasé. They said it was like a martingale that he was using. They're so blasé about $5,000 bets, $10,000 bets, that when $20,000 goes out, nobody notices. Yeah. Anyway,
I'll tell you
ultimately
something.
A happy ending.
Who's the bigger idiot, the casino or him for using the martingale system on?
That's right. That's a toss-up, Mike. I don't know who I can give the crown to in that case.
I mean, he's violated the two most important rules. Number one, martingale only for sure works if you've got unlimited amount of money.
Right.
And also only works if the casino has an infinity upper limit, because once you reach their upper limit of their bets, you're kind of screwed on that.
Yeah, and he'd gone above the limit, the official limit here. So he was in some trouble with this martingale.
That's when the dealer should just real quietly just step up and say, "Sir, let me explain to you why you're an idiot."
No disrespect.
Yeah,
right?
Not intended, but...
Well, Scott, thanks for telling us the story about the woman who made a terrible move in blackjack, and it helped you, because usually you just hear the stories about, oh my gosh, she didn't hit and the dealer made 21. So again, it doesn't matter in the long run what other people do at the table. So I'm glad that you both won and that she was tickled at being complimented by you. So very good.
If that happens once, that's the way I look at it. Like, oh, well, they're not experienced and they don't know, and good thing it worked out or whatever. But, it is frustrating when you're at a table and a person consistently is making bad mistakes.
Yeah, if it gets to you, either play at another table or just try not to look over that way. Just look straight ahead and,
You put your hands over your eyes, la, 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 la.
That's right, the whole time. Sir, I'm just waiting till the dealer turns over his card.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I just don't want to see what's happening.
I'm not touching you.
And craps, you just put your head down on the table in defeat.
Right. And then you ask your buddy, either Mark or Dr. Mike, just tell me what the role is.
Yeah,
just tell it to me when you see it. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, Brandon out here in Salt Lake City. Well, I have officially gambled in another country, not here in North America, and not just anywhere in Europe, but in Slovenia. That's right. My wife and I were over there on a week-long trip exploring that country, and I found myself at a small casino in the town of Bled, which is a little tourist town kind of on the western side of Slovenia. Not much to report on the casino, to be honest. Kind of Spartan. There was a blackjack table that was open. The other table games that they had were Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker. They did have a couple of roulette tables, but none were open when I was there. They had electronic roulette, and they had a few slot machines, kind of reminding me of some slot machines you might find at a bar in Montana, where you can pick 5 or 6 different games and choose whichever one you want to gamble with. And I think they had 1 or 2 buffalo slots as well. One interesting thing at this casino was when you walk in, they take your ID, whether it's your U.S. driver's license or your passport, and they put you into a database and take your picture before they turn you loose into the casino. That was the only odd thing. But otherwise, I just thought it was pretty cool to find a casino in essentially Eastern Europe. And we were talking to a friend of ours who lives there, and she said that the Slovenians actually enjoy gambling. She said there were quite a few casinos scattered throughout the country. So if any of your listeners decide to find their way over there, it's a beautiful country, and you won't hurt for gambling over there. So anyway, that's all I got for you, boys. Thank you for everything, and take care. We'll see you.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Boy, I'm pretty sure that's our first report from Slovenia.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
It's probably the reason they take your picture and look at your passport and whatever is there's probably different gambling laws for residents versus tourists.
It could be, but you're jumping to a conclusion there pretty quickly. I mean, you might be right.
A lot of Europe.
A lot of places do have that.
Yeah, they have things where so that the locals and whatever can't get into gambling issues, they limit their access to the casinos.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. He said that their friend said that everybody loves gambling there, and there are plenty of casinos. So it's probably something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Boy, it's kind of disheartening that they've got American roulette at a casino in Europe. Like it's advertised. Oh, we've got American roulette here. Oh. So, anyway, beware if you go to Casino Bled, you're going to have 00 on the roulette table. All right. Thanks again, Brandon. Great report. All right. Let's hear from our good friend, Melanie.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie from Colorado. I have a very exciting news. I went to Bally's Casino in Blackhawk, Colorado today with my friend Deanna, and we found a $5 craps table with 100 times odds. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, we played there for a couple hours. I think I cashed out down 80, but it was super cold when we got there, and then the table filled up and got rowdy and fun and hot, and made up a lot of it. So anyway, we had a blast. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. So apparently they have $5 craps and blackjack Monday through Thursday before 6 p.m. They only have one half of the table going, so it can be a little tough to get a spot. But I think we got there probably about 1, and we played for 2 hours, and we had an absolute blast. So highly recommend anybody in Colorado or passing through. It's a really cute town. Check it out. Love the show, guys. Oh, and I do have to say, hit another Royal last week at Central City. So that was really fun at I can't remember the name of it, Brian's V, I think. Anyway, that was very exciting. Of course, I thought of you, Mark, and Dr. Mike, of course. All right. Love your show, guys. It always brings a huge smile on my face when I see it in the queue, and I can't wait to listen to it. Thanks for what you do.
All right. Thanks for the report, Melanie. Right. She said she might be heading out our way. And so I told her that you're going to be coming out towards the end of September. We plan on going to Harris, Southern California on Saturday night, September 23rd. So Melanie and anybody else, you want to see Dr. Mike in his element, we'll see you up at Harris, Southern California.
Yeah, hopefully that's going to go well.
I hope so, too. I hope you don't have to go back to the safe.
Yeah, right.
All right, next call.
Hey, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Ariel. So, trip report. Went with a friend and I haven't gone to Vegas for 20 years, so we did the whole touristy stuff. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And then we had a good trip playing craps as well. So it was her first time shooting. She hit all the small, so she did great. And then when it was my turn shooting, I also hit all the small. So it was a good trip overall. So played at the Tropicana. I think they have to closing down soon because of the baseball stadium. But great group of dealers over there, specifically this one guy, Leroy. So I was playing over there, and I had 3 numbers to go, the 2, the 11, and the 12. And I told the dealer, hey, put it on the high-low because I'm going to hit the 2. I roll, I hit the 2. And then he's like, oh, all right, that's great. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it because I'm going to hit the 11 right now. And then after that, I'm going to bet the high-low, and it's going to be a 12. So I roll, I hit the 11, and I said, okay, where I said, I'm going to bet the high-low now. So I put the high-low, and I roll, and it's a 12. The dealer's like, I've never seen that, and I've been dealing for 20 years. It's like, yes, great job. Of course, I had the big, small, and all, right? So I cashed in pretty good for that one, but that was a very funny rolling experience that I had there. And of course, after that, I left. Question about, I just was listening to your last episode, and there's a question about like buying in. So every time I don't buy in on a like roll, and then there's some seasoned players there, and they know, and they're like, hey, thank you for not buying in, you know. So just want to let you know, it's appreciated by the community. All right. I will definitely hope to see you guys when you guys are around San Diego. Have a good one. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Ariel. That is good. You and I both try to do that too. If you see somebody deliberately not buying in, waiting for a while, especially if it's in the middle of a really good roll and it continues for a while, that is nice. If you, here I say this, we're not even that superstitious, but it is good etiquette. And it would be nice if people who seriously are superstitious and think a seven's going to come up if somebody's going to buy in, it'd be nice if they thank those people for waiting too. Yeah, that's just nice courtesy.
My least favorite thing is when somebody comes up and throws their money on the table.
Yeah, it doesn't even look at the dice are out.
No, it doesn't. I mean, sometimes, the person's got the dice rolling or something. They just throw their money down.
Yeah.
And then they proceed to play, and it's obvious they know how to play.
Yeah.
That's what really... Now, if I see the guy who buys in and then he doesn't really know what he's doing, I think, okay, well, cut him some slack. He's not a craps player.
I think people who don't know the game are probably less likely to sort of casually throw money out there.
Right. Yeah, they're usually shy about it.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll get somebody who just...
Or this how you play, or they've seen it on TV, or maybe they've had a few too many.
Right. Yeah, the few too many happens a few too many times.
All right. Let's find out what happened with Jessica and Amber.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Jessica and Amber. And we got through our blackjack session. Did pretty good. Amber actually took away, how much did you take away?
$200.
$200. So bought in for 200, walked away with 200. I call that a win. So we were at Isla Capri. I don't think I told you that when I called Isla Capri in Boonville. Yeah, it's fun. All the people are really awesome. Have a good time with them. Great crowd. Anyway, thanks again. Enjoy your show. Bye.
All right. So a break-even trip. Well, that's success, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's a fun, little outing. I'm sure they had some drinks and enjoyed themselves, so that's definitely a win.
We say sort of half jokingly that the worst thing you can do the first time you gamble is win. And there is a certain amount of truth to that. What about breaking even as your first time? You think maybe that's better? Yeah, you're less likely to think, hey, this is easy.
I think breaking even is better. Now, if you had a really, really good time and you broke even, that might, be like, wow, I can go there and have a great time. And it doesn't cost me anything.
Okay.
That doesn't always happen. But
so what you're saying, Dr. Mike, is the ideal situation for the first time is to lose a ton of money and have a bad time otherwise as well.
Right. And then you're just so depressed, you're never even going to think about going to a casino again.
All right. So that's what we recommend to our new players.
Hope you do bad and you just hate it.
All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Dr. Mike. My name is Frank, and I'm from the SF Bay Area. I started listening to your show back in October-ish, and I've been listening ever since. It's my first time calling. You guys have a great show. Keep up the good work. Now, you might recall back in May, I sent you guys a karma donation because my brother and I were going to head up to Lake Tahoe. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the trip for a number of reasons, one being the heavy snowfall, late spring snowfall, that surprisingly showed up, and we all know that driving on Highway 50 in the snow is enough of a gamble itself. But I did want to make up to you guys because I sent you guys another donation when I went up to Reno back in July. I got to go to two places. One is the newest casino there, the Legends Bay Casino. It's in the Legends Shopping Center in the city of Sparks. Pretty small. From the entrance, you can see virtually the whole place with just one panoramic view, but it's nice in there, Seem to have a good loyalty program, a small number of tables, but, good enough for, I guess, what it's worth. And I guess pretty loose slots because I put $20 in a machine and came out with $400. So, I'll be going there soon. And another place I went to is the Row, which is three Caesars properties, El Dorado, Silver Legacy, and Circus Circus. And I've been visiting there ever since I was a young boy. So it's very nostalgic for me. And they have a stadium gaming setup toward the back entrance where they have a baccarat thing. And baccarat's my personal favorite table game. And I went and played that. And I was surprised to find out it was commission free. I've noticed commission-free baccarat is really starting to pop up in a lot of places. Because here in California, that's basically the only baccarat you can find at the card rooms and at the travel casinos. But it had an interesting rule where if the bank hand had a free card 6, it's not a push, but it pays 1 to 2. So you get your bet back plus half. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I did really well there. I won over $600. So your karma donation really helped me out. Well, my karma donation to you. So I thank you guys for giving me good karma. And I was wondering if you guys see any non-commission baccarat floating up by you guys, because I feel like it's slowly starting to gain a lot of traction. Probably because, less commissions paying out and easier for the dealers, I guess. I don't know. Thanks for the show. I love it. Keep up the good work. I hope to talk to you guys soon.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks.
Yeah. If you're talking about a squeeze game or in the high limit, the baccarat is pretty traditional with the commission for the banker bets. But yeah, we see a lot of no commission baccarat sort of in the regular casino area, the lower limits. Yeah, there's usually some kind of rule where if the banker ends up with a certain total, certain number of cards, it's a push. This is the first we've heard of a payout of 1 to 2 for something. So in other words, you had a $10 bet and this situation comes up. I think, what did he say? A banker 3 card 6. So
yeah,
a $10 bet, you get paid $5. That's interesting. So that's kind of the way that they get around the commission there.
Well, you don't push, so it seems more attractive.
That is
right?
that is a little bit better. And of course, on a lot of these no commission games, for those certain hands that are a push, there's a side bet that you can make. That if that comes up, it's a hedge. And of course, people love side bets. So yes, again, aside from the serious baccarat tables that you might find in high limit rooms, we're seeing it quite a bit. Yeah, the no commission. And yeah, it's a faster game for the casino, right? They don't have to keep track. They don't have to collect from the players. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Beth.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Beth calling from Michigan. I've been migrating my way from blackjack to craps over the last couple months and really enjoying your show. I wanted to give a trip report from the Spokane, Washington area. I was taking a drive around Lake Coeur d'Alene and stopped in at the Coeur d'Alene Casino first. Kind of disappointing, no live table games and pretty smoky with not a lot of action. Then I made my way to Northern Quest Casino out by the Spokane airport. Dr. Mike may have something to say about the name, but it was a lot more lively. They had $5 craps, only double odds, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw they had $5 3 to 2 blackjack tables. I made a little money, so I left happy. Didn't play any slots. I did see there were a couple small casinos/card rooms in town that only offered table games. One was connected to a bowling alley. I didn't visit, but wondering if you had any comments on those since I've never seen that before. If time permits, I also wanted to comment on Dr. Mike's daughter buying an anti-break-in device for her hotel door. As a woman who travels for work, there's something to be said for the convenience of a purpose-built device, but you can also further secure your hotel door with common household items like belts, towels, or coat hangers. You can just Google it. I would say the biggest thing is to trust your gut. If you don't feel safe, it's worth any extra money you might have to spend to find a place you do feel safe. Anyway, love the show. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Beth. Then, yeah, Dr. Mike, your daughter is going to be traveling. And like we talked about on the last episode, it's nice to have some backup for locking your hotel door just in case, somebody might try to get in.
Well, and she made a good point. It's worth paying extra. Like if you're in a hotel that's in an area maybe where you don't feel safe, it's worth paying extra to get a hotel or a place in an area where you do feel safer.
Yeah.
Right? We make so many of our decisions on life based on money. And, you can't take any of it with you. So spend the extra $100 and get a nicer place.
Yep. Sometimes you spend money on safety and or peace of mind. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Some of these places where the casino is not necessarily the emphasis, like it's a bowling alley or it's a bar, something like
right.
We don't see too many of those around our area. Maybe there are more in the Washington area. It's kind of what we talked about before. These would be Class 2 gaming facilities. And if you do see places like that with a bowling, it's usually a poker room more than anything else. So
I'm going to tell you a funny story here. It reminded me of when you said that about places that are not really gambling places, but they have some gambling. And then there's places that are gambling places that discourage entertainment, like Diamond Joe Worth. Mark, they had on Saturday nights, well, they still have on Saturday nights some music, live music. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 people. Sometimes it's one person up there singing.
Yeah.
And they're not headline talent or anything. It's in nowhere, Iowa.
Yeah.
But there's one couple of guys that perform there once a month, maybe one Saturday night a month.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, it is the worst show. I have never seen anything that bad. 2 guys, each playing a guitar poorly. The one guy sings, and it's just terrible. It's almost like it's, one of those, let's go on America's Got Talent and do a really job so everyone gets a laugh out of this.
Uh-huh.
But it's meant to be entertainment.
So you can hear this no matter where you are in the casino.
No matter where you are in the casino.
Okay,
it's at the bar. They have a little stage behind the bar.
Yeah.
And they perform there, and they turn it up loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
And the dealers all love it. They're all like, oh, it should be busy tonight. We got a big draw. And, they're making jokes about them. One dealer told me he was considering going out and buying a bunch of earplugs and then just on his break standing around the bar there selling them. He said, I probably sell earplugs. I probably make a few $100s a night.
Well, Mike, if you're able to, see if you can record them.
Yeah, I'll try that one time if I'm there and they're playing. I'll tell you the funny part is, Mark, think of it from the casino's perspective. Get out there on the tables. Don't stand so close to the bar and just hang out.
Oh, there you go. It's
so terrible.
It's so awful. They're getting people out to the machines and the table away from the bar.
Right. Go find yourself a real loud buffalo machine.
All right.
Sit there.
Yeah. Crazy like a fox, the casino is.
Right. Ay, ay, ay.
All right. Last call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Dave calling from Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C. Actually on my way back from a trip in Atlantic City with Craig and Kyle from Due for a Win. They're 2 good friends of mine.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually calling about a recent experience I had at the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore. We were playing blackjack there with a bunch of friends of mine, and I had a blackjack, and the dealer, who was very, very elderly, paid out my blackjack, but apparently forgot to take the cards. He then proceeded to work through the rest of the people in the hand, and then as he was going to clean up the cards, he came back to my hand and saw my cards still there, and I had taken my winnings and left my bets up, and he looks at me and says, "I'm not paying you." And I say, "Excuse me?" He goes, "I'm not paying you. You're trying to get paid again." I said, "No, sir. Why do you say that?" He had forgotten to take the cards and apparently thought I somehow was trying to get paid a second time for my blackjack. He then instructed me that I was supposed to take down my bet after I pulled my winnings back, and I told him I never do that, and no one ever does that in blackjack. You always just leave your bet out there. And he got very hostile, and I actually said, if you want, you can call the pit over, and I'd be happy to explain this to him. And then he got very defensive and said he didn't want to do that. I was just wondering if you had ever seen or come across a situation like this, how you might handle it. I am really not sure he should be dealing, because he was perhaps the slowest dealer I've ever had in blackjack, and yeah, would just love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for your podcast. I love listening to it, and keep up the good work.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, that's not a thing.
What's his name? Kenneth?
We've got, here's a dealer at Harris named Kenneth. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, that's not a thing where you have to take your whole bet down when they pay off your winning. Yeah, this dealer just made a mistake and was trying to blame it on you, Dave.
Yeah, he was having a bad day. Well, I always carry a bunch of blackjacks around in my pocket. And after I get a blackjack, I get paid on it. You take my cards and I slap another one down.
That's right.
Oh, you forgot to pay me.
Trying to get paid again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is awful. It's too bad the pit didn't come over and hear the story. Hey, plenty of places, let's say you bust, right? It's from a shoe and it's dealt face up. Let's say you bust. They take your bet and they take your cards. You can make your next bet. Most
Right.
casinos will let you make your next bet before that
Immediately,
hand's, even over.
Right.
Maybe not all casinos, but that's pretty common. The only time they really ask you to pull your bets back is if they're doing a fill on the table. A lot of times they want all the chips out of the circles just, so they can count up their...
So nothing gets confused.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, this dealer just made a mistake and was trying to blame it on somebody else. So that's pretty funny.
Maybe we'll add that to our display above the pit that tells you, when the cocktail waitress is coming and all that. We'll have on there green light for, now's the time to make a bet. And with the red lights on, you can't make a bet.
That's right.
The yellow lights on, you can have it in your hand, but not actually on the table yet.
Yeah. And we'll have it behind the dealer, so the dealer has to keep looking behind them, right, to check. And then, we'll get mad. Hey, keep your eyes on the table. So.
Right. No, a little cone will come down over the dealer when he has to turn and look. It's
like the cone of silence.
Like the cone of silence. It'll be the cone of safety, though, for the chip.
So it comes down.
Dealer, it's okay to turn. The cone of safety.
I think the cone of safety is going to come down over the entire table. Not the players, but the entire table.
Yeah.
Hands away, cone coming down. We've got so many good ideas for our casino.
We need your passport. We need your ID. We need a retinal scan. Once we have all that, you may play 3-2 blackjack for $5.
Welcome to Mark and Dr. Mike's Casino. Behave.
Yeah. I'd like it if we had a casino and it was all kind of like Get Smart themed.
Get Smart themed. Yeah, from the 60s, a show most of our listeners haven't even seen.
They should.
I agree, Dr. Mike. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, James, and Kurt. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Adam F., placing a 2-way karma donation for my upcoming August 4th through 11th Vegas trip. Looking forward to bourbon, blackjacks, and avoiding Big Red. Thank you for the most entertaining gambling show out there today. Well, thank you very much, Adam. You're on that trip right now as we record this. So hopefully you're having some good luck there. We also got a donation from podcast favorite John B., heading to Vegas for 360 Vegas Vacation 12, hoping to see some old friends and make new ones. Oh, yeah, sounds like that was another great event that the folks over at the 360 Vegas podcast put on. And we also got a donation from our good friend Ed O'Connor. He said, this will be my final season for the 33 pool. Oh, yeah, he puts that on I imagine that it is a lot of work. He has to draw names every week and keep track of all the money and everything.
Yeah, it's a bit of work, and that's why we don't do it.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Hoping to have a fun and exciting season. You guys are one of the few that never had a hit. Yeah, we know that. Wishing you good luck this season. Well, thanks again, Ed, for all your hard work. Yeah, and I hope we do win a little something from that pool finally.
I think Ed should just lock our money up. That's gone.
That's true.
No need to even bother to send us results, Ed. We know what they are.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it is at You Can Bet On That, and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, you know how it used to just be Costco that would like move things around the store.
Sometimes
you knew where the graham crackers were, and you go there, it's not there anymore.
Right.
Where is it now?
Sometimes they have completely different products too. That's definitely a Costco thing. You can't depend on them having the exact same thing they had last week.
Nope. And you can't depend on them. If you see something at Costco that you want, you better buy it then.
Yeah, good advice.
Because you can come back 3 days later and they don't have it anymore. And you ask about it. And, oh, well, I don't know. We may never get that back again. So anyway, it used to just be Costco. But now it seems like everything changes all the time. Like Meta, Facebook became Meta, right?
Yeah, right.
And, Twitter's now X. And just in our world in general, things are always changing. We went from 3-2 blackjack to 6-5 blackjack. Just constantly we had 100 times odds, then we don't have 100 times odds, but some places will still give you 100 times odds if you ask nice. I mean, why does everything have to change like that, Mark?
So what you're saying is that as an elderly American, you don't like when things change.
Well, I don't mind change, but I do mind when they change the name of something or the place they put it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's no reason really to change the name of something.
Well, I mean, I'll agree with you with Twitter. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to stop calling it Twitter and tweeting.
No.
It's,
Yeah. I X'd you something. You what? I X'd you something. I know you asked me something. What I'm saying is, what did you ask? No, I asked you something. I mean, it's just crazy, when they change stuff for no reason. And part of Costco's thing is they move stuff around, so you have to search. And that way you'll see other stuff.
You'll see more stuff. And like any good Costco shopper, you're going to end up buying way more than you intended to when you walked in. Yeah.
There is not a human being on this planet who has gone into a Costco and only bought what they wanted or even bought less than they wanted. No, it's always, you buy more. Because you're walking down the aisle and it's like, how am I not going to buy those peanut butter filled pretzels?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we might have 2 jars of them at home, but I'm here. I might as well get another one.
Well, brace yourself, Dr. Mike, because change is a-coming.
Change is a-coming. Are we going to change the name of the podcast?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I'm just going to change it to Stern. It's just going to be Stern because I'm looking at this video game console I got in front of me. It says Stern. So why not?
Have you heard that new Stern podcast?
What's it about?
What's it about?
Oh, it's recreational gambling. And are they stern? Are the hosts real stern? Not particularly.
There's nothing stern about it. Stern must stand for something like stupid, tumultuous, ugly.
All right. It's Stern with an E, but I appreciate your effort.
Oh, it's not an R.
It's S-T-E-R-N. It's S-T-E-R-N. It's the name of a company. So anyway. All right.
Oh, but that makes too much sense.
Yeah,
I think ours will have to be S-T-U-R-N. Stern.
Yeah, it makes more sense. All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Good night.
Did you guys see me? I was on fire tonight. Man, I can't wait to get back to the shore. God, I love gambling!